What is up, everyone? It's Cody here from Yellow Jeepin'. Welcome to yet another episode of the Jeep TJ 1-ton build. Today we're going to be talking about the rear coil towers. All right, so someone brought up in the comments that I did not go over the rear coil tower portion of the rear end. That is because it was super intricate. So I have a couple clips we're gonna play here now that go through some of the build process, how they're made. Then we'll get into all of the intricacies actually on the Jeep as it sits now. Hope you guys enjoy. As always, if you're new to the channel, go back and start the Jeep TJ 1-ton build from episode 1 to the current video. That way you guys have all the information to 1-ton swap your Jeeps. All right, this is about where I want ride height to be. So I have 5.5 inches from here to there on each side. We're going to be running 4 inches of up travel in the King coilovers, which are right here. And that puts us at about 25.75 inches long at ride height. So this is a 14-inch coilover 2.0 King, and 25 3/4 is the distance at ride height. So this piece here, this is a GenRight rear coil tower, and then the GenRight little axle coil mounts. So that's going to go there, welded on. You want these as far out on the axle as you can get them. So I'm probably going to put mine like right there, which is about a half inch, and then this frame actually gets cut all the way back and notched, and then that tower there goes in its place. So right where I have this set is exactly where this needs to be. So put this piece of pipe in here. Right now I have my coils, my lower coil tower set at 2 inches from the edge of the axle here. The tire, the wheel's only coming out to here, so it's a ways away. With that, we are at our 27 inches from eyelet to eyelet here. We're very close to the end of the frame, by the way. But I use this rod here to measure my distances here and here to kind of get an idea on where it's sitting. All right, so hopefully the first portion of this video was pretty good. I only had bits and pieces of building the coil towers just because it was so time consuming, and I had to make so many changes to it that it really, by the time I finished it, it wasn't even close to where I started. So bear with me on that, guys, but hopefully there was some good information in there for you. We are gonna get into the actual finished product now with measurements and all that stuff. All right, so here we have the finished product with our rear coil towers and coilovers. So these are 2.0 by 14 King coilovers. These are the GenRight upper and lower axle mounts here. I got the shocks or coilovers and the mounts from GenRight. These towers will actually fit a 2.5 bodied coilover, which is something I eventually will go to. They were just completely back ordered for months, so we didn't go with them right away. Basic gist of this is I wanted 4 inches of up travel. Now up travel is the silver part of the shaft here that's showing. This isn't exact right now because I just have the frame ratchet strap down to show kind of rough ride height, because obviously there's no weight on the frame. These springs are way heavy. So we are running a 200/150 spring. That's our spring rate. And this was built off of 27 inches from eyelet to eyelet. So 27-inch distance there. That is what sets your rough ride height. So looking at the Jeep here, that's about where I wanted it to sit ride height wise. And that's how you make the measurement. So 4 inches of up travel factored in with the rest of the shock is 27 inches. And that kind of gives you an idea. So when I built this, I had the axle on jack stands, frame on jack stands, and I was like, okay, that's about where I want ride height to be. So 27 inches shock body. The rear axle mount, and this is why a lot of people will back half their frame. There's not a lot of room here, as you could see. The rear shock mount is as close to the end of the axle as I could get it. So it's within I would say probably half of an inch. And what I did was I took this guy here, the upper coil tower mount, I C-clamped it to the frame, and I started moving it to where I could put a pipe, you know, an 1.5 inch pipe in here, straight down to my lower axle mount, and I can get a somewhat of an equal distance here. So that takes a lot because you have to obviously send the shock all the way out to fully extended and then bring it back in to make sure that your coil tower is not going to hit the inside of our upper coil tower. So that's where a lot of the playing with it came in. And once I had it where I knew I wanted it, Sharpied it, cut the frame here, and Frenched it into the frame. So it's really only the back wall of this. I didn't cut this upper coil tower at all. So if you guys look, and we'll go on this side here, if you guys look, the bottom of the coil tower is protruding through in parts. So we're at about a 14-inch height on the back side and then a 13-inch height on the front side here. One critical error that I did make was setting this coil tower so far back. So the reason that this is a problem is because this is the end of the frame in reality. And if we walk over to the tub here, it's not on the tub right now, but this is the rear portion of the tub, and this would be your backmost body mount here. That is 100% have to be cut out of the tub because the coil tower is going to be sitting right in here. So that's something for you guys to think about when you're building your 1-ton build. If you're wanting to run those back body mounts or not mess with the frame too much, you're gonna have to set these forward. So I have mine pretty much straight up and down with the axle, and then you could see that they're tilted out. And that's where you're gonna get your best ride height and best performance of the shocks from. But that's something you need to think about. And in retrospect, it probably would have been smarter to actually back half the frame from here with like a moto belt back half and just do it that way, because you'll have way more room here. And as you can see, I mean, there's room, but it is a tight fit inside of here. So as far as strength goes on these coil towers, they're welded all the way around, top, bottom, inside and out. The little hole in the frame right here was welded through. And then we have this 1.5 inch Dom tubing that's braced. And that is perfectly in line with the bottom of our intermediate body mounts. So this is where your regular shocks would mount and where your gas tank would mount to if you were running that factory piece that's right behind that metal there. So I made this piece here at 1.5 inch, and then 1/4 inch plate, and then just drilled my body holes in. That way that it's not getting in the way of the axle, and we're not running a fuel tank on this particular Jeep. So as far as adjusting our coilovers, like I said, the spring rate was built by Genrite. I told them what I was doing, and they were like, yeah, we do this every day. 200 on the bottom, 150 on the top. And like I said, they are 2.0 by 14s. We're running 4 inches of up travel. As far as adjusting them goes, that is going to be something that we do last. Genrite ships these without nitrogen. So at some point when I get the Jeep done, I'm going to have to take it to a place that fills nitrogen shocks, have them fill each of these with 150 PSI. Then I'll be able to actually go in and make my adjustments on the shock itself, get the Jeep sitting exactly how I want it, and all that good stuff. But that is going to be in a future episode. All right, guys, I know that was a lot of information and it was covered really fast, but that is the general gist of the rear coil towers and how they were built. If I could have did it again, I would have back half the Jeep and I would have set the coil towers further forward and maybe angled the shock backwards a little bit, just so that way I didn't have to make the modifications to the tub. If you guys have any ideas or things you've done that have worked better in the past, drop a comment. This is supposed to be an open area where we can all learn from each other. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. We will catch you on the next episode of the Jeep TJ 1-ton build.